So, Growing the Ecosystem is the title of the panel discussion, and we also have it somewhere here. I want to invite Markus Korn first, Program Officer, Components and Systems from the European Commission, and he will also give a short introduction now. And I want also to invite the other panelists coming to the stage now. I invite Aleš Ude from the Josef Stefan Institute. Welcome to our panel discussion. Oscar Lazaro, we already got to know you. Christophe Leroux, Francis Ray, please, and I hope we are in time. And Govert Gispes. And Markus Korn will give the introduction, and then we can start the discussion.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'll try to be a bit shorter than the 5 minutes that I have, just to catch up with time. So, you will have seen already most of what I'm presenting. I'm introducing you to the second phase of, to the second phase of I4MS. Why having a second phase? First of all, why should you not continue something which is highly successful? And that can be stated for the first phase. It was highly successful. And so we need still, let's say, to continue. I just give you an example from my project Fortissimo. We had such a high interest in the calls that the rejection rate was unfortunately super high. And then just saying, okay, that's it, there is no phase two, is certainly not the right idea. Second thing, Fortissimo is going to launch a so-called marketplace for services for SMEs in autumn of this year. And that means towards the very end of the project, and to establish such a marketplace, as you know, Amazon didn't start within a couple of weeks or months. They needed also their time to evolve, and so therefore we expect that there is some more help needed to get that marketplace established. But we are not only continuing the successful stuff of the first phase, we are also addressing additional technologies, and it's evolved very clearly that CPS and IoT are gaining enormously in importance for manufacturing processes, and so therefore those are now also included in the phase 2. Already a lot was said about that there is a new instrument in Horizon 2020, which is FSDP, or better known as Cascade Funding. Basically, it is the fact that SMEs have now a very light procedure to accede to a contract without being contracted with the Commission, which is a bit of a complication. We are in the administration, and we have to make sure that everything is checked at least twice. That takes time, that is complicated, and this has been taken off as a burden from SMEs in the second phase. We have also increased the support to SMEs and mid-caps from 60 to 70 million of the percent of the funding, which is a major success, I believe. And Govert is going to present more about it. We launched a mentoring and sponsorship program of new hubs, where you get a little bit more detail of what has been selected recently. So just the map. So it's like in commercials, you know, the slim lady is on the right-hand side and the fat one on the left-hand side. Just to tell you what you have here with the red bullets is that the left map of phase 1 is already fairly well populated, whilst of course the one of phase 2 is very strongly populated, and we have, I can say, we have in phase 2 already 22 new competence centers and hubs being involved in I4MS, and with what Govert is going to tell you, we will increase that by a further 23. Last but not least, here is the very short overview over the projects. The IAs, that means there are 2 more CSAs as already presented by Sylvia. You can see the size of the different open calls and when they're located. So you can see Fortissimo, the first call is already finished with very big interest. 73 proposals have been received. For BNCPPS also, the first call is closed with 23 applications. And as you can see, for robotics, the open calls come a little bit later next year. But also Fortissimo and BNCPPS will even call this year for the next and last round of experiments. That's it, what I wanted to tell you as an introduction. And I hand over then to who is the next in line.
Well, Alois Ude is the next one. And I would say
I steal your seat.
the project presentations should be as short as possible.
Okay, I'll try to be short as much as possible. What do I need to press actually?
Push end, maybe?
And I see, okay. Okay. So today, if you want to make a new production line with robots, it typically takes a lot of time to make it, and it is rather expensive because basically you need a lot of expert knowledge to put such production line in place. And so what we want to do in Reconcile is to offer a new kind of autonomous robot work cell which will be attractive not only for large-scale production but also for few of a kind production which typically takes place in SMEs. So this way robotics will become interesting also if you produce your products in smaller batch sizes. So we plan to achieve this by exploiting some new technologies like programming by kinesthetic guiding, adaptation by force control, visual monitoring, reconfigurable fixtures. This has all recently become available and can be used to basically produce work cells that can be programmed more effectively. Our aim is to have a low-cost work cell which will consist of robots like universal robots, but we are looking also at newer systems that has recently become available like Franca, Emica and others. So the final goal is to have a cell that can be nearly automatically reconfigured to execute new assembly tasks. So to do this, we kind of structure the project in two phases. In the first phase, the so-called developer group, which consists of the Josef Stefan Institute, the University of Aachen, the University of Southern Denmark, and University of Göttingen, will integrate these technologies that I mentioned before into a coherent system and provide suitable user interfaces so that SMEs and other users can easily use these work cells. This work cell, and we will do this in cooperation with 3 SMEs, which we actually included as partners in the project. And as Marco said before, this was a rather difficult process, but we thought it's useful actually for the project to know from the beginning what we are going to work with, that we really have the typical use cases. So this is the assembly of automotive light by company Elvas, and assembly of a gripper for a wall mounting robot by Precisica Metal, and the assembly of control boxes by Logic Data. And so this will be the first phase, and then in the second phase we'll get an additional experiments through an open call, and here the aim is to actually show that this work cell is really useful, that is attractive for companies so that they apply for the calls, and that it can really accomplish what we plan, so reconfiguration to totally new products. And as far as the exploitation is concerned, as a partner, Blue Ocean Robotics, which will work on the exploitation plan for the work cell, either through some sort of innovation hubs or through a spin-off company past the lifetime of the project. So these are our goals for the project. So really, we want to cut the installation time, the operator and training time, and the time needed for new assembly tasks. And the work cell will come in different configurations, which then determines what kind of products you can actually assemble with these work cells. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Christopher,
Hello. Sorry. I'm Christophe Roux from CEA in France. And briefly introduce HORSE project, which is part of the phase 2 of I4MS. So briefly, our objective in HORSE is to foster the technology deployment in manufacturing industries, SMEs in particular. So we have an approach based on the conception of a framework which is supposed to facilitate this appropriation of robotics technologies, and we will support this appropriation by competence center. There are 4 competence centers that will be set up in this project, and of course with a mechanism of open call to stimulate and gather other participants to this project. We are driven in this project with 3 pilots that you can see, and you can see some images of the pilots. The top ones are from a sandcasting factory, and here you see the images of what is done actually currently in this factory manually. So very difficult task with many musculoskeletal disorders. It's removing of flash and trimming and that sort of things. The second is with Bosch about manipulation of wiper blocks, and Bosch in that case represent 80% of the market in the world. So it's a huge and important partner for us, which is really very interesting to drive this project. And the third one is an SME in the Netherlands, which is dealing with cold metal forming, and so it's also a very important SME in the Netherlands, which is manufacturing on sliders, vertical and horizontal sliders. So, and our focus is technical focus in this project is on human-robot cooperation with no fences. And we would like to introduce robot in the production line or in the work cell on the existing work cell, and that's one of the difficulty we'd like to address in this project through this middleware, which should facilitate the interaction between robotics and ERP, MES, and all this traditional equipment of manufacturing. With a specific focus on safety, because we're addressing again this problem of cooperation between human and robots with no fences. So I told you about 4 competence centers that we will set up in this project. There are 3 already built on existing structures. The one in Paris-Saclay is built from the ECOT++ robotics innovation facility, so it's existing for 2 years. The RIF in Paris-Saclay is dedicated to the deployment of robotics in all domain, healthcare, manufacturing, and so on. Here in HORSE, we're focusing really on manufacturing and robotics into the work cell. The second one will be in the Netherlands, and the third will be in Munich, and there is a 4th competence center that we will be setting up in Slovenia, in Celje, and we have a special interest on this competence center because we think it will start from nothing, and we think that from the lessons learned of the construction, the elaboration of this competence center, it could be also the model of the deployment of other competence center in different countries, and specifically with the contact of our partner TCS in Celje with other partners in the Eastern Europe. So these competence centers are built on equipment, robotics equipment, services, persons experts that are in robotics, and we also provide a set of services on marketing advices, advices on IP right, and contact with financing, contact with other platforms. There in France, we are now inaugurating in the next month one platform in the east of France in Lorraine region, which will be called Floor, and which will be more dedicated to applied application of robotics within really the manufacturing, the plant. So it's a complementary role between the competence center in Paris-Saclay and the networks in France. And so it's a whole, the competence center are really a whole designing a one-stop shop for robotics, and it's a whole ecosystem that we are trying to build around that. Thank you.
Thank you, Christoph. And the next one in the race is Oscar Mesa.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so good morning, everyone. Now it's my turn to introduce you to the Being CPPS I4MS project. This is the project that is dealing with the application of cyber physical systems to the actual production environment. And what you can see in this slide is that basically we have a very simple aim and goal in this project. On one side, we want to accelerate and improve the development of solutions for production based on CPS technologies. And on the other side, what we would like is to put together these solutions with manufacturing SMEs that we can help in the digital transformation of their business so that they can fully adopt this CPS technology. So if our final goal is actually to accelerate this adoption of cyber physical production system, which are the pillars for this project. If we have to build this initiative, if we have availability and the focus of the competence centers, which are the pillars of the initiative. The first pillar is actually to help in developing a European open platform that will help these SMEs first to produce applications and services that can be adopted by industry. And we believe that open platform is a key pillar necessary for the adoption of SMEs. The second pillar of the initiative is to put together some industrial manufacturing infrastructures. If we only have technology, but we don't have the actual infrastructures where we can integrate and experiment with the actual CPS systems, then we will probably fail in actually getting these solutions to the market. So if we want to reach for market readiness, we need to facilitate these industrial manufacturing infrastructures. And the third pillar for digital transformation is actually to work on business models and really to facilitate I4MS partnership. Our colleague from HP was really highlighting the key aspect of partnership in digital transformation. What I can tell you is that CPS technology applied to production is really a complex process that requires a lot of integration, and it is very difficult if one company can actually do the whole business together. So actually, partnership, actually building this type of ecosystem is critical for CPS success if we really want to reach this European and SME and mid-cap growth and digital transformation based on CPS technology. And that is why we put together this initiative that brings together both the technical and the business expertise and help to introduce cyber physical systems in the field, in the shop floor, in the factory, and also in the cloud, and put everything together. In terms of business modeling, what we realize is that we need to bring together an SME-friendly digital transformation ecosystem. An SME faces many challenges, and with being CPPS, what we would like to bring together is the business development capabilities, but also the training and certification programs that accelerate the acceptance of these products by the industry. And for doing that, we have gone a little bit beyond the actual competence center concept, and in the consortium we are starting to put together our regional digital innovation hubs. We are actually putting together in our consortium local and regional administrations that are connected to the top initiatives in Europe through the Vanguard initiative. We have the regional authorities working together with the competence centers and the multipliers and accelerators, so already creating these regional ecosystems. And our ambition and the I4MS competitive advantage is to move from these 5 initial competence centers, and at least through these sponsorships and mentoring program reach to a 10 set of regional digital innovation hubs. And for doing that, we are investing 2 million euros to set up 25 experiments. And one of the differentiating aspects of being CPPS is that our open calls are not only directed towards the final SMEs, trying to put together innovative applications of CPS systems, but we are also trying to make our industrial manufacturing experimental infrastructures more and more attractive, both to the potential customers and the developers themselves. This is the actual composition of the consortium, and I think in this case it's not just a collection of partners that share some technical capabilities. Actually, what is quite interesting is that it's starting to put together all the value chain and the typical partnerships that you will need to gather if you want to succeed in putting a cyber-physical production system in operation. You can see that you have the competencies of top European research centers in the CPS field, but you have also the commitment of very large enterprises that are leading the manufacturing sectors where they are present, but also you have the SMEs that are providing the technologies. And also you have the associations and the commitments from the regional authorities. So putting this together, I just hope that you can feel and you can experience what is our leitmotiv, that with being CPPS, we can go from smart products to intelligent process and digital business. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Oscar. It's time now for Francis Ray. Great that you are still here.
For the moment, yes. Okay, so. Yeah. So, good afternoon, good morning. I'm Francis Ray, I'm the manager of the Fortissimo 2 project. Fortissimo 2 takes forward the marketplace developed in Fortissimo, which Marcus has already described. It also seeks to augment the reference experiments developed in Fortissimo through holding further experiments to the subject of the initial proposal and 2 further calls for proposals. So what's our mission statement? Well, our mission statement is very simple. It's to stimulate the uptake of advanced modeling and big data analytics by European engineering and manufacturing SMEs and mid-caps. It's enabled by cloud-based HPC. It's instantiated as a cloud of services, so services that can provide specific companies with specific help in their design, people who can use CFD, deploy CFD expertly to help in the design of products, people who can predict the behavior of cables in aircraft under certain conditions, and so on. It's enabled by cloud-based HPC because these SMEs, the people who might use that technology, are too small to be able to afford to buy the large computers needed to perform that simulation and analysis. It's all about competitive advantage. It's giving small companies, medium-sized companies, the ability to compete with big companies because they can get these services on a pay-per-use, on-demand basis. And the measurable goals for Fortissimo are very simple. It's going to be the number and scale of profitable services which are held which are contained in the Fortissimo marketplace. What's the added value been to Fortissimo of I4MS? Well, it's given us a critical mass of activity. It's brought together not only the players in Fortissimo, but the players in other initiatives. It's brought together a large set of actors in a marketplace with a large set of reference experiments, over 80 reference experiments by the time the initiatives will have finished, and it's provided a set of reference success stories which enable small companies to see how the application of this sort of technology can benefit their businesses. Okay, I think it's time now for the questions.
Well, I think there is one more keynote from Robert about
Yes,
the
I'm sorry.
Yes,
No worries.
give him a chance.
Looking for the. Okay, don't find it yet. Yes, there I am. Okay, my presentation follows on a bit from what Sylvia presented yesterday on the two CSAs in I4MS phase 2, and a bit on what Marcus just presented. So I'm going to tell you something about focus the presentation really on on what we discussed yesterday, the issue of the digital innovation hubs. Before that, the plan, the ambition for phase 2 of I4MS is really this idea of widespreading excellence through the development of a series of digital innovation hubs. Focusing on a much wider range of regions and actors, and especially on regions, less developed regions that are not yet participating. How will we do that? The idea is to set up a network of between 25 and 30 new regional hubs in those regions that will be centered around one or more competence centers, but will involve SMEs as direct beneficiaries, but also other stakeholders. And I4MS will provide mentoring and coaching services in setting up, helping to set up, establish these digital innovation hubs with a relatively small contribution for preparing feasibility studies for setting up a full product. What we've done is we've held two calls for proposals. To proposals for the establishment of digital innovation hubs and for preparation of these feasibilities. We had a pilot phase in which we received 5 proposals and 3 were selected. And we've just completed the full phase where 36 proposals were submitted, and we have 23 selected who were immediately above the threshold, and we are talking to 2 more proposals who will probably participate on a somewhat different basis, so that would bring up the total probably to 28 projects to be supported. Here's a quick overview of the proposals that have been selected. As you can see, there's a widespread of countries. The different colors indicate the different technologies, different I4MS technologies. The bulk, there's a largest number of proposals was actually on the CPS IoT projects, with smaller numbers of projects for robotics, HPC, and just only one for laser. So that's the overview so far. What will we be doing in those, and what we'll be doing in the services, the digital hub projects in the process of preparing the feasibility studies will include a number of activities. One is that we will be holding a 2 or 3 day kickoff meeting at a summer school, which will be held at our partner MTC in the UK in Coventry in September. Each of the projects will organize a regional workshop with stakeholders and other partners. Projects will develop. Hub projects will develop in the context of the feasibility study up to 3 use cases, which will involve innovation hubs and will involve SMEs. Will focus on the regional ecosystem for what we call the RDMI, the Regional Digital Manufacturing Innovation Hub. Important is the establishment of a business plan, development of a business plan, and at the end there will be presentation at the meeting, most likely in Brussels. The mentoring and coaching, activities will be done jointly by the relevant innovation action, which is in the lead, and our CSA, Access to I4MS. And the coaching will focus on a wide range of activities, both technological and non-technological, where the innovation action will sort of concentrate on the technological aspects. So questions, are important ones. How do you build a technology-based business? How do you develop use cases? How do you set up a successful regional consortium? What are roles and responsibilities of core partners and the stakeholders? How do you build partnerships through brokerage and building? How do you build a successful business model? And probably most importantly, how do you develop a good plan for accessing multiple sources of funding? Because I think it's very important to stress that this 50K funding availability will only help setting up a feasibility study. It will not set up a digital innovation hub. The important thing is there that as I think both Khalil in his presentation earlier and Max also said, this is just sort of seed money that needs to be multiplied by local sources, by structural funds, by funding from private companies, from national, local, regional governments, to make this dream of having a digital innovation hub in each of Europe's regions a reality. So what we very much believe is that we should have a needs-driven approach. The coaching will consist of a wide range of different types of activities, but we think it's the most important thing is really that it's needs-driven, and we're now in the process of sort of working with the project, with the pilot projects to discover what are the key needs and structuring the program. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and please don't be disappointed if Francis says he really has to leave. I'm happy for every minute you stay longer, but you told me before, so that's why I just wanted to announce it again. Okay. So this is your chance now. This is time for your questions if you want to take part in the discussion here. Yesterday we had a lively discussion, and some of the guests here in the audience also, they wrote some messages via Twitter and asked a lot of questions. Please.
So my question is, as in yesterday, how we are going to make pan-European, let's say, innovation hubs, okay? So there are silos of many innovation hubs are available regional or national level, and how can we, or is there a strategy, or what would be the next step, okay, to make it available for pan-European?
Okay, I think you have to get a microphone. Okay?
Can you hear me? Okay, Haluk Gökmen from Arçelik in Turkey. My question is, there are excellent, let's say, innovation hubs or competence centers available Europe-wide, but the aim of the Smart Anything Everywhere or I4MS is to create pan-European innovation hubs, or provide these services available for the other side. As Max has also mentioned yesterday, this is somehow trust, okay? So, and also the previous presentation in France, okay? With the project, we are finding the possibility to work together, but it should be available for whole Europe, okay? Otherwise, we are still fragmented. We will be many robotics or, you know, many other laser hubs, okay, distributed all across Europe, okay? Maybe solving the same problem, okay? And my question is how to make it pan-European or available for all European, let's say, companies.
Possibly the question goes to me. Yeah, we are in the moment in the situation, first of all, to build them up, right? Of course, that's one of the good reasons to have a phase 3 and 4 for I4MS, to exactly find, after we have, let's say, motivated with the 50K, quite a high number of hubs, with the new projects, also a high number of new competence centers to participate in the initiative, meeting regularly also in fora like this one, will lead gradually in the next years, that we hope, to a network of digital innovation hubs that collaborate amongst each other, right? That is a gradual process, I would say, and it will need a little bit of time, but I think what we are doing and planning for phase 3 and 4, and what we are already about to do in phase 2, goes there exactly in the direction that you have asked, to have a pan-European digital innovation hubs network. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure.
And I think it would be it would be a very good idea if from the beginning we monitor and follow very closely what is happening, and that we document experience, so that we actually support the further development, but also the building of this pan-European network. But we have to build in this sort of a monitoring service right from the beginning, and record these experiences.
Okay, there is another question, I think, from Max.
Does this work? Yeah.
Yes.
There's more comment from me on the question that we just got. I think this mentoring and sponsorship program, as it is now, you should also see it as a pilot of trying something, because it's a way. I don't think we will ever be able to get structural funds to invest in innovation hubs if we don't create use cases. So I would hope that out of these 20x, we would get some cases that prove. Now, we have made the case, and here we need structural funds, and our ministry that's responsible for structural funds, maybe the Ministry for Transport or whoever that is investing in this. So if we create some of these showcases and then they do innovation experiments with local money, then we show the case, and then we can develop it further. Now, on the process, I would say we are aware that we need to do more. We will start a working group with member states on how we do that, also to link it to the member states, and that working group will meet after summer. We have a plan that the commissioner will have another roundtable where he will announce that, and then we'll have a meeting of this working group in October, and we hope to be able to table some ideas on how to bring this forward, how to get innovation hubs involved in October.
Thank you, Max. Silvia, do we have any comments from Twitter? No? Giuseppe, yes, please. But I think it's better you're going to get a microphone. I can bring it to you.
No, that's fixed. Thomas, that's fixed.
The question is the following: is connected, not growing outside the ecosystem, but growing inside the ecosystem. Because I saw in some presentation of experiments outside the cloud-based manufacturing. I saw that in some experiments have been used simulations, but not, let's say, the simulation that are available as, let's say, already from the project of I4MS. So I saw that in some cases have been used, for instance, ANSYS or other kind of experiments. other kinds of software simulation. So why, I mean, don't, let's say, put a condition for the, let's say, experiment, all the experiment for that are financed from inside I4MS, to use the resources which are already available for now for from the other projects. So, for instance, a new project that is going to use to have a target for whatever, then inside the manufacturing, as a score, which I mean can score something more if this project or the partners are using, for instance, the already available simulations on cloud, which are from Fortissimo, Cloud SB, or Cloudflow, or whatever. Instead of using for running the experiments other softwares that are for other, let's say, from other sources like ISO ANSYS or other one. So in these cases, there is a growing inside of the ecosystem from the results that are already available from I4MS, from other projects, and are enforcing also the new experiments.
Okay, who wants to respond to this? Oscar.
Maybe I can try to answer from a little bit of experience, okay? Because when you try to define the CPPS experiment, you have to deal with hardware, software, cloud, and process, and you have to integrate that. And I think one of the issues is that if we do that just now, I think we are maybe putting an additional barrier rather than making the life of the SMEs easier. And I think one of the key aspects that make I4MS a success was that we were making really SMEs their life much easier in terms of putting innovation into the market. So at least the approach we are taking in being CPPS is trying to through this open platform we are trying to define how we could connect the actual technical resources we have in being CPPS with the kind of capabilities that the cloud projects would open into the future. Actually, it's one of the activities that we are considering in the technical work packages. I think once we have made ourselves internally this type of connection and we can have our sort of agreements between the projects, then I think it's probably the right time to make that offer to the SMEs. Because if we ask the SMEs to do that job for us, the competence centers, I think I'm not so sure that the response would be extremely positive to that proposal. On the contrary, if we prove that this kind of interaction is possible through our experiments and we provide the reference architecture, I think they would be very interested in exploiting that type of expertise. So I think it's a good idea, but I think we have to mature ourselves internally and then offer to the rest.
So thank you, Oscar. And to be honest,
Can I just
Francis. Okay, sure.
if I can switch them to that. Yeah, that works.
Done, yeah.
Okay. I think one of the really important things to do is to develop reference experiments for end users. This is all about convincing end users that there is a technology which is worthwhile for them to use and deploy. And the importance of the experiments in that is paramount. We have to be able to show to these people that it's worth them investing their time and their money, even if it's only to find out what's possible. So we need to focus very, very much on those.
To be honest, there is not much time left, but if there is one last question that has to be answered, then this question should be okay.
Okay, this is not a Twitter question, but it's a question I've been asked several times this day, so I guess it's probably a common question, and that is the fact that for the open calls, there were some regions that were not eligible. And some people are questioning why is that? Is that region is not nice, or is it that we are not opening to those regions? And I wanted to clarify that this was a starting point for the Digital Innovation Hub's, let's say, expansion. And the reason for that was not that we're not going to open that to those regions, but that they already had some innovation hubs or competence centers. So that's just one thing to make everybody calm, that those regions probably will be eligible in the future extension. And this is just one question of mine. And are we going to have only one innovation hub per topic in each region, or are we also envisioning having more than one per region and per topic? Let's say labeled digital innovation hubs in the topic in a region, or is it just the first one to come is the only one that's going to have, it's going to be there?
Thank you, Silvia. Who wants to answer?
Okay. Let me try and answer that one. When we developed the call for proposals, we had to come up with a very clear and transparent set of criteria for regional eligibility, because the purpose of the initiative is to spread the I4MS activities to new regions. So what we came up with was a list of regions that were not eligible, and by definition all other regions were eligible. So the non-eligible regions, if I remember now correctly, what we decided jointly with the Commission is that if there was already a competence or two or more competence centers or I4MS partners active in the region, that region would be ineligible. If there was one competence center, it would be eligible, but not for the technology that was already addressed by that competence center. So there would be possibilities for an additional competence center or additional hub in the same region, provided it would address another technology. How that will develop in the future, if there's more, I think still it's the purpose of the whole initiative is still to roll out I4MS to as many new regions as possible. So and therefore avoiding concentrating further efforts on regions that are already participating. That has been I think the purpose all along. I don't know if you want to add to that.
Yeah, just one point I'd like to refer to the presentation of Max, where it was already announced that towards the end of the year there will be a call for digital innovation hubs for the EU 13 countries. So that is also, let's say, showing that we are trying to possibly address stronger those regions that possibly find themselves in the moment not yet in the position to propose something which could be successful in the competition with other regions.
Thank you very much to our panelists. Thank you very much to you. And I think one of the messages of this morning is that the activities will be continued. And we also continue our program here at 2 o'clock